Welcome back to the Ten8 podcast brought to you by RainBet. I'm here with Alex. He is not in Las Vegas right now, like usual. He is in, I think, Miami for the Jake Paul Mike Perry fight. How we doing, Alex?
I'm good, bro. I'm actually in Tampa, in this disgusting humidity. Um, but yeah, I'm here. We're here. Mike Perry fights Jake Paul this weekend, but we also have a god awful Apex event that's so bad that I don't even know why we're doing this podcast this week. But we're here for the fans.
We're back in the Apex, baby. I used to always say the Apex, we should get rid of it, but then you see fight cards like this, and it really is the only place where it's appropriate. So, holy shit, dude! I just looked at the card. That is so bad. How did we get to this point in life where Virna is headlining main events? This is insane.
Yeah, bro. It's bad. It's there's I mean, we're both hardcore fans, and even this card is like really putting my fandom, like it's questioning my fandom, like what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Are the UFC just I don't even know what to say.
I mean, when I go through this card, I think that there's an argument for this possibly being the worst card of all time. I don't know. It makes me go back to the pre-COVID era or during the COVID era when we had those thrown together cards. This looks worse than that to me. I can't think of a worse card.
Yeah, I thought that I think it was the last Apex event I thought was the worst card of all time, but I mean, you look at this one and I agree with you, bro. I don't know if you can ever find a worse card than this one. It's dog shit.
There was a card during COVID where I remember Norma Dumont headlined, and that was pretty bad. But yeah, this might top it. I mean, Lamos is kind of cool, I guess, and Virna just whatever. But I mean, the prelims and everything, this looks worse than the PFL card. Like I looked at the card and I was like, I don't know any of these names. This is PFL right here. But
I
I
mean,
mean,
when you have the Iron Turtle versus Brad Tavares as the co-main event, I mean,
I was gonna
you know,
say there are a couple bright sides to this. If you want to be optimistic, I mean, Duho Choi, he's coming back. I mean, that's kind of cool. It's like his first or second fight since COVID. I mean, I feel like there's a whole era of fans that don't know who this guy is. I mean, he's pretty freaking cool.
yeah, dude. His last fight was against Kyle Nelson 2 years ago, and he fought to a draw and then disappeared for 2 years, and now he's back. I mean, it sucks because we lost him during his prime years due to military service, but hopefully that Super and the Superboy will come back and put on a good event.
Yeah, I mean, his fights are always exciting. I kind of don't forgive the military for stealing him for us. Of course, he's South Korean, and they do have their mandatory military service. So, yeah, they pretty much just stole a lot of money from him and stole him from his prime so he could do some army drills. He never even fought in a war, so it really, really was wasted. But, yeah, I think that fight will be cool. And then you have the Iron Turtle, who is gained a lot of traction for some reason.
For some reason. Yeah, I think that traction kind of went away due to his loss last time, but you know, it is what it is.
Well, it actually didn't. He's actually the betting favorite going against Brad Tavares right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that those odds. But yeah, I mean, look at this card. I do like the Superboy Iron Turtles, fun to watch. Cody Durden versus Bruno Silva, that should be fun. I Hyder and Mill is not only he's must watch television. Every single one of his fights is very very fun. So that's probably the only reason why I'm gonna watch this card. To be honest with you, but other than that, yeah, I mean UFC Apex, UFC Vegas '94, woohoo! Let's go, bro. Yeah, what's the bet of the week?
So better the week. Well, I talk so right there, dude. The Iron Turtle. I'm sorry, this is the biggest fade of 2024. And so last week we got robbed on our play of the week. We had Rose Namajunas and Santiago Ponzinibbio. I don't care what anybody says. Santiago won that fight 29-28, clear as broad daylight. But anyway, we lost our bet there, so we have to double down. We have to get riskier. We have to regain those losses. So I have two underdogs that should all be underdogs this week. So first one, obviously, Brad Tavares coming in plus 136 against the Iron Turtle, who he's kind of cool. I get it, but I'm sorry, Tavares is a veteran. He's just a better fighter, better gas tank. Iron Turtle is going to gas out. So take Brad Tavares in the first line. In the second line, Amanda Lemos. You know, I think Virna, it's hard because she sees everything coming from both sides. That's a little joke about her eyes going two different directions. But yeah, I think that Amanda Lemos, she's the better fighter here, and Virna's a little bit less proven. I'm going to go with Lemos. So you parlay those two people, that's Rainbet's making that almost a plus 400 bet right there. That's insane value. I don't think it's any better than that. We're regaining our losses from the last week.
Well, I like that parlay. I can't lie. I'm kind of iffy on the Lemos leg of it because I do think Verna is pretty dangerous. But I believe if Lemos does come in healthy and just you know, I think she does have the tools to beat Verna. And I love the Tavares pull, especially because Tavares has the best wrestling defense in the middleweight division, and Iron Turtle. That's all he knows how to do is wrestle because he has zero striking. So if you can't take down Brad Tavares, how are you going to beat him? So yeah, I like that parlay.
Yeah, I think that's a clear max bet there. And I was just wait, what? Do you know what how this time works with Jake Paul and the UFC? I don't even know what times they start at. Are you gonna be able to watch this thing?
So let's see, fight night. Uh, Paul versus Perry main card begins on DAZN pay per view at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's the main card. So I'm guessing Mike Perry and Jake Paul won't fight until
Probably midnight.
midnight 1 a.m.
So you're keeping up
So
with the Mike Perry, Jake Paul card way better than I am. Is there anything on the undercard worth watching, or we're just waiting until midnight to watch this fight?
Uriah Hall is fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Okay, so are there any
And
fights worth watching on the undercard, or
Manny Serrano is fighting. Yeah, no, there's not a yeah no. We're just watching Jake Paul versus Mike Perry.
Serrano's
That's that,
cool, but like every time she fights now, if it's not Katie Taylor, she's basically a minus like 8,000 favorite, and there's just like no point in watching that.
and that's what she is this go around. I think she's like a minus 660 or some shit like that. Minus 6,000. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it
Um,
sounds more realistic for a boxing fight.
yeah, it's ridiculous. And then the Jake Paul versus Mike Perry. I just think it's definitely probably one of the biggest tests for Jake Paul, but I think the simple fact that Mike Perry likes to get hit and Jake Paul hits very very hard. I think that's a recipe for Mike Perry getting slept on Saturday, which is pretty heartbreaking, but I think anybody with half a brain could see it happening.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree. It's a crazy time where he can go win a boxing match against Michael Venom Page, yet here he is a underdog against the Disney boy. I think that's a little crazy, but Mike does look in phenomenal shape. He really does brawl very well. Uh, I think there's a big difference we have to realize between bare knuckle and actual boxing. Like Mike does a lot of damage with his knuckles. Like everybody he fights gets cut open and bleeds immediately. If you go back to his UFC days, he didn't really do that to people. and now he's just wearing bigger gloves, more protection. Uh, his whole big thing was you he was able to take your damage way better than you could take his damage. So that's going to be a huge factor. That's not going to be there this fight, and it's literally just kind of boxing ability. And bare knuckle, I think this would be a very cool fight, but uh, yeah, I haven't seen them face off. I'm assuming Jake towers over him a bit. Uh, Mike cut down to 170 when he fought. Jake Paul hasn't touched 170 since 8th grade. Uh, yeah, I'd like to. I haven't looked at the prop bets on this, but I would love to take him by knockout. But yeah, according to RainBet, Mike Tyson has a better chance to beat Jake Paul at 60 years old than Mike Perry does, which I don't agree with, but uh, that's a whole other story. But yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
but let's
that's
go,
rough.
Mike. We're rooting for you, buddy, but I don't think it's going to go your way. But get that bag, brother.
Yeah, I would like nothing more than for Mike Perry to beat Jake Paul, but he did have one boxing match. I think in 2015, he got knocked out. Then he's never been a one punch knockout artist as it is. I think. See, Jake Paul knocked out Tyron Woodley last time he was in Tampa, and I think he's going to knock out Mike Perry this time. And so that's just
Yeah, that's what happens when you're juiced to the gills, rich kid that just boxes every day of his life and refuses to face real boxers. But
it is what it is.
we'll hopefully look like idiots next week on this podcast. Like, oh my god, that was the worst bet of all time. Oh my gosh, I can't believe Jake is still in a coma. That'd be the coolest podcast ever.
Yeah, no, that I mean, I would come on here with a big ass smile, especially because this week's just so dire with UFC Vegas 94 and Mike Perry getting slapped by Jake Paul. It's just not a good week, bro. It is what it
Yeah,
is, you know.
I can't believe we went 13 minutes already. That's I thought this would be a 45-second little conversation here.
I did too, and I think we're trying to stretch this as out as long as we can. Finally, I do want to ask, Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor did have a press conference today. He's on his BKFC promoter hat. He's got that on right now. People are saying he's going to cross over with BKFC. That's just not going to happen, right? Like if he's not fighting MMA, he's not fighting bare knuckle, right? Correct? Am I right?
Yeah, I guess it depends on how bad life gets. That's kind of, but yeah, that's a few steps down the ladder. Step one is this drug. He's already down the ladder. I won't lie. The whole drug escapade thing he's doing right now, and alcohol and pulling out of fights. He tumbles down, falls a few steps down. He boxes Jake Paul, and he loses that fight. Then he had to tumble like 10 more steps, and then you see him at BKFC versus Mike Perry. So hopefully something along the ladder happens to keep him from going that low.
Is a Conor McGregor's OnlyFans lower than BKFC or higher than BKFC?
It's kind of a weird question. He's already on Instagram. His last few posts, he's already full thong out. I mean, I don't know. He might already be at the OnlyFans. We'll see.
Oh God, what combat sports, bro? Well, look at what we got. Look what we got. Yeah. So that's the podcast. Thank you, RainBet, for making this happen. We will be back next week for at least a good card. UFC 304 and UFC Vegas 94 will be in our rear view window. We'll never talk about it again. So thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week.
All right, shout out RainBet. Bilal Muhammad, baby, next week. Let's go. That's what everybody's main event is.